Ford says it will lose $3 billion in sales of its electric vehicles to consumers this year.
Ford says it lost $3 billion before taxes over the past 2 years.
Ford reduced costs and putting more investments in EV space, planning to cut up to 8,000 jobs in coming weeks.
Ford's CEO just dropped a major bombshell, declaring what end of Ford as we know it. And just when you thought the news couldn't get any more dramatic, the CEO dropped a bombshell that all employees would be let go. But why? You see, Ford has been dominating the market, and if you didn't dig deep enough, you will never know the true reasons why Ford is doing this. So how exactly did we get here? What's happening? Ford has been a household name for over a century, and this announcement truly feels like lightning striking in a clear sky. The implications are massive and far-reaching, affecting not just employees and shareholders, but also consumers, suppliers, and even the broader automotive supply chain. This isn't just a corporate shakeup. This is about the very identity of a company ingrained in American culture. If you've been following Ford's recent endeavors into electrification and technology, you know this has been a work in progress for some time. But this decisive move has left many scratching their heads. Is this a necessary evolution, or are we witnessing the unraveling of a 120-year legacy? Well, let me break it down for you. Financial challenges. Ford Motor Company is navigating turbulent financial challenges, and the storm clouds are gathering. Their current predicament raises alarms across the board, unraveling a tapestry of issues that threaten both their operations and their standing in the market. Let's peel back the layers of Ford's financial woes to get to the core of what's going wrong. Let's talk about the first major blow: surging warranty costs. It's not just a slight uptick, we're talking about a staggering $800 million spike in warranty expenses that hit the company like a freight train in the second quarter of 2024. This isn't just minor wear and tear, it's a clear indication that Ford is grappling with ongoing quality issues, particularly in their older vehicle models. Investors have been understandably rattled, leading to an eyebrow-raising 18.4% nosedive in Ford's stock price following the latest earnings report. One cannot help but wonder, how can consumers trust a brand that seems to be consistently battling quality control? Next up on the list of red flags are the consistently disappointing earnings reports that have become a recurring nightmare for the company. For example, the latest adjusted earnings per share clocked in at 47 cents, a disheartening 20 cents shy of what analysts had anticipated. This isn't simply a matter of missing targets. It highlights systemic operational inefficiencies and also raises serious questions about the strategic planning and execution unfolding within the corridors of power at Ford. How can you steer a ship heading into a storm if you can't even read the compass? Then there's the heavy financial toll being inflicted by the electric vehicle segment. Ford had high hopes for a smooth transition into this burgeoning market, but reality has been a harsh teacher. The Model E unit, their so-called flagship for electric innovation, reported a jaw-dropping loss of $1.33 billion in the third quarter of 2023, a steep increase from the $1.08 billion loss in the previous quarter, with competitors like Tesla igniting a price war that's likely to scorch profit margins. One has to ask, is Ford truly equipped to compete in this rapidly evolving landscape? The grim picture doesn't stop there. We've also got declining sales and a shrinking market share that sound alarm bells far and wide. In Europe particularly, sales have plummeted by a staggering 50% over the past decade. Poor decision-making and strategic blunders have paved the way for rivals like Tesla, along with new entrants from China to snatch away a significant slice of market pie. Finally, there's the mounting pressure of increased production costs intertwined with chronic supply chain disruptions. The ongoing semiconductor shortages have wreaked havoc on manufacturing operations, leading not only to factory shutdowns but also to a relentless financial drain. CEO Jim Farley himself has laid it bare. Ford left about $2 billion profit on the table, thanks to these persistent challenges. Isn't it striking how a single component can have such a massive ripple effect on an entire organization? So now, how did they end up here? Well, there are certain reasons for why Ford is failing this bad. Shifting strategies. Let's talk about the major shakeup happening in the automotive world, particularly how Ford's bold pivot to electric vehicles is affecting their workforce. This transition toward electric vehicles is not just changing the cars we drive, but also dramatically reshaping the landscape of employment within Ford. First off, the process of moving toward electric vehicles has created an urgent need for new skill sets, skills that simply weren't necessary in the world of traditional internal combustion engine manufacturing. This is not your casual overnight change change. It's a seismic shift where roles centered around gasoline engines could soon be seen as about as relevant as dial-up internet. As Ford accelerates into this new electric frontier, many job positions that have been the backbone of its operation may become obsolete overnight. This transition doesn't just hit manufacturing roles hard, it's like a domino effect that ripples through the entire organization. Think about it, when manufacturing jobs are at risk, ancillary positions across supply chains, logistics, and even support services also face uncertainty. This isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet, this translates into a real human impact affecting families and livelihoods as the company evolves. One day, you could be a proud assembly line worker, the next, you're contemplating your future career path in an emerging job market that demands entirely different skills. Financial turbulence. Now, add to this mix the financial intricacies that play a pivotal role in Ford's decision-making process. Within the Model E division, the financial outlook has been less than rosy. Negative performance and losses observed here have pushed Ford to make decisive cuts in various operational areas. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place, investing heavily in the future of electric vehicles, which promises exciting opportunities while facing the grim reality of immediate financial constraints. This pull between visionary aspirations and practical necessities leads to difficult conversations in boardrooms everywhere. What do they need to do to ensure future growth while handling tight budgets? There's no two ways about it. The emphasis on profitability is front and center. When companies like Ford are in the business of transforming themselves, decisions regarding staffing become even tougher. It's a balancing act where they have to weigh how much they are willing to invest in sustainable technologies against the hard-nosed facts of their current finances. Essentially, this results in a challenging dialogue about where to cut positions and how to reallocate resources wisely. But here's where the excitement lies. Making these hard decisions is often a precursor to exploring new horizons. Ford is not just slashing jobs left and right without a plan. They're formulating a strategy that includes retraining existing employees to fill new roles created by the electric vehicle shift. Imagine the transition from assembly work on combustion engines to programming, maintaining, or manufacturing electric powertrains. While some jobs might disappear, new innovative roles are stepping into the limelight. The hope here is that instead of simply laying off employees, Ford will take initiative to invest in training programs that allow their workforce to pivot into this new era of automotive technology. In order to successfully execute this plan, Ford must really dive deep into the specifics of retraining and reskilling the workforce. It's not enough to say, hey, here are some new tools. They need to create comprehensive education and training programs that facilitate career transition smoothly. This might involve partnerships with educational institutions or online platforms that specialize in training programs for electric vehicle technologies. The goal is to ensure that employees feel empowered, not just discarded, as the company shifts gears toward electric mobility. Let's dive into the electrifying battleground of the electric vehicle market, where Ford is revving its engines and gearing up for fierce competition against some heavyweight contenders, most notably Tesla and Stellantis, where things are beyond control, so let's break this down. Ford in the EV market. Historically, Tesla has stood out as the reigning champion in the EV arena. They've been the poster child for all things electric, pushing boundaries with innovative designs and technology that have reshaped what consumers expect from their vehicles. But here's the twist. Recent analyses indicate that traditional automakers like Ford and Stellantis are not sitting idly by. No, they're stepping up to the plate and closing in on that gap. According to a compelling report from Bank of America Merrill Lynch, a storm is brewing as GM, Ford, and Stellantis plan to unleash a staggering 37 new electric vehicles onto the American roadways by 2025. In contrast, Tesla has just 10 models in the pipeline during the same time frame. Can you feel the shift in the air? This ambitious plan signals profound changes in the market dynamics, and we're looking at a potential boost in the collective EV market share for these traditional rivals. From a modest 12% in 2020, predictions suggest that by 2025, this figure could skyrocket to an impressive 34%. Meanwhile, Tesla, once the undisputed champion, is anticipated to see its stronghold erode, seeing its market share dip from a whopping 79% down to approximately 52%. The traditional giants are not just responding to the market, they're challenging it head on, and that's exhilarating. Now, let's delve deeper into what this means for Ford, especially regarding performance metrics. This is where things get a bit bumpy. The Ford EV division, popularly known as Model E, recently reported a staggering quarterly quarterly loss of $1.3 billion in the first quarter of 2024, with each vehicle sold equating to a jaw-dropping loss of around $132,000. Those numbers paint a sobering picture. Suddenly, the thrill of racing towards electrification doesn't feel quite so glamorous, does it? Ford finds itself under significant pressure to not just enhance its product line, but also revamp its performance metrics to gain traction in an increasingly competitive field. On the flip side of this unfolding drama, we have Stellantis striding confidently onto the stage with competitive models like the Ram 1500 RE. This beast boasts an impressive extended range of up to 500 miles on a single charge, leaving Ford's own F-150 Lightning, which has a range of 320 miles, in a bit of a dust cloud. With numbers like these, it's clear that Ford has some serious work to do in terms of improving its EV offerings and performance figures. Now the question is, why couldn't Ford adapt quickly to the new market conditions and end up falling behind? Well, there are three main reasons for this. Price war. At the beginning of 2023, Tesla slashed prices across its lineup, setting off a chain reaction that left other automakers scrambling to keep up. For Ford, this wasn't just a bump in the road, it's become a substantial hurdle, particularly in their EV division known as Model E. So what's the real impact of this price war, and how is it reshaping Ford's future? Let's break down where it all started. By reducing prices, Tesla aimed to attract even more customers while reinforcing its dominant position, proving that they could not only lead in innovation but also in affordability. But this move set off a wave that crashed into the traditional automakers, creating ripples that Ford couldn't ignore. Now, we can't overlook how Ford and its competitors reacted to this bold shakeup. With Tesla changing the pricing game, other auto manufacturers, including Ford, found themselves in a tough spot. If they wanted to stay relevant and competitive, they had to follow suit and cut prices too. Ford decided to reduce the prices of its Mustang Mach-E and several other models to capture the attention of customers who hesitated to make the leap from traditional gas-powered vehicles to electric cars, especially when those EVs were priced at a premium. In doing so, Ford's management realized they were doing more than just lowering prices. They were navigating a tricky maze filled with challenges, risks, and uncertainties. How did the price war affect Ford? Let's talk about profit margins, which have become a major concern for Ford. With customers increasingly reluctant to spend extra on EVs compared to their gas or hybrid counterparts, the ability to maintain profitability has become a tough balancing act. It's like walking a tightrope while juggling flaming torches. One wrong move and you could end up with a fiery mess. The pressure to keep those margins healthy while matching Tesla's aggressive pricing strategies is as intense as it gets. And if that weren't enough, let's look at Ford's ambitious production goals. As a direct consequence of the shifting market dynamics and the squeeze on profitability, Ford has had to revise its targets. Originally, they aimed to produce 600,000 electric vehicles by the end of 2023. Now, that target has been pushed back to the end of 2024. This adjustment reveals a reality check. Perhaps their initial plans were riding high on unrealistic optimism, especially when considering current demand and market conditions. The delay demonstrates just how precarious the transition to electric offerings can be. Now, you can imagine that with a price war underway, the competition isn't just heating up with Tesla. Other automakers, such as Stellantis and General Motors, are also feeling the pressure and adjusting their pricing strategies in response to the ongoing turmoil. The competition is fierce, with more players in the game looking to slice into Ford's market share. In this rising tide of rivalry, how can Ford differentiate itself? This challenge isn't just about standing out in a saturated marketplace, it's also about stabilizing costs to maintain a strong foothold. But let's explore the ever-pertinent issue of quality. As Ford focuses on cutting prices to maintain competitiveness, there's a looming worry that quality might take a hit. You know how it goes. When companies try to trim costs, quality can sometimes be the first thing to suffer. This isn't just a theoretical risk, it can severely damage Ford's brand reputation. If consumers start associating the Ford name with diminished quality, it could erode the trust that's taken decades to build. A loss of customer trust is like a flat tire on a road trip. It derails your journey and leaves you stranded. Unnecessary innovations. Consumers are completely over unnecessary and malfunctioning automotive technology. That's right, they're giving this tech the cold shoulder. Let me explain. To kick things off, let's talk about the specific technologies that people are not just avoiding, but actively rejecting. We're diving into features like gesture controls and facial recognition, which sounds super high-tech, but often miss the mark when it comes to actual usability. Imagine trying to wave your hand to control something in your car, and instead of the feature responding seamlessly, it misinterprets your gesture or just fails altogether. Sounds frustrating, right? This high failure rate isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a source of genuine annoyance for many drivers. Why should getting in your car, an experience that should be smooth and enjoyable, turn into a guessing game? The study from JD Power highlights that these frustrating tech features aren't just isolated incidents. They're symptomatic of a broader issue in the automotive world. Many consumers are reporting high problem rates with these nifty gadgets. When they've invested their hard-earned money into a vehicle packed with state-of-the-art technology, the last thing they want is a system that doesn't work as intended. Instead of enhancing the driving experience, these features create more frustration, leading to disappointing encounters every time they get behind the wheel. Now, let's peel back the curtain and take a closer look at the financial implications of this trend. Ford is spending millions, yes, millions, on developing and integrating these shiny tech gadgets without taking the time to truly understand if their customers actually want or need them. It's a classic case of putting the cart before the horse. The company invests hefty resources into creating high-tech features that end up being unwanted or unreliable, leaving both consumers and automakers facing the aftermath. Those investment dollars could be directed elsewhere, like improving the fundamental elements of vehicles that customers actually prioritize: reliability, safety, and comfort. Consider the irony here. While car manufacturers are racing to equip their models with the latest tech, consumers are essentially saying, "Thanks, but no thanks." It's as though they've upgraded the vehicles with science fiction-like features, yet buyers find themselves longing for the basic functionalities that simply work. Who wouldn't prefer to enjoy a well-designed infotainment system that helps them access music and navigation without a hitch over a confusing gesture control system that rarely responds correctly? As we dig deeper, we can see how this disconnect affects overall customer satisfaction. Imagine purchasing the latest model of your dream car, only to discover that its fancy features barely function, or worse yet, become a distraction. This kind of dissatisfaction can lead to negative reviews, poor brand loyalty, and frustration with the automaker that extends beyond the car itself. It's not just the immediate problem with gestural controls, it's about creating an overall user experience that keeps consumers coming back for more. And right now, that experience is seriously lagging. Moreover, let's talk about the potential environmental implications of this push for excessive technology. The focus on integrating complex tech could lead to heavier and less efficient vehicles. If cars are bogged down with unnecessary gadgets, how might that impact fuel efficiency or even electric vehicle range? Automakers need to remember that consumers aren't just looking for flash, they want function. At the end of the day, driving should feel instinctive and enjoyable, not weighed down by an overabundance of complicated features designed more for show than effective use. Additionally, investing in refining existing features, like improving infotainment systems or streamlining connectivity options, could lead to higher levels of customer satisfaction. Instead of chasing the next big tech sensation, the focus should be on honing what's working and making it even better. After all, a happy customer is a loyal customer, and that drives long-term success. So with all those problems Ford is facing, they have no choice but to fire their employers. But when Ford makes the tough decision to reduce its workforce, it doesn't just create challenges for the workers who lose their jobs, it sends shockwaves through the local economies and community dynamics that depend on those workers. So how much impact are we actually talking about? What's the implications? To kick things off, let's highlight the sheer scale of job losses. Thousands of employees have been laid off across various locations, and just recently, Ford announced a staggering 3,000 job cuts in the US. These aren't just numbers on a report. These are people, individuals with families, responsibilities, and dreams who suddenly find themselves facing an uncertain future. The sudden loss of income can create immediate hardships, leading to decreased spending in local businesses. Think about it, when workers have less money in their pockets, they're not dining out, shopping locally, or supporting those small businesses that tie the community together. The result? A direct hit to the local economy that can be devastating, particularly for restaurants and retail shops that rely on customer foot traffic. Now, let's explore the economic ripple effect that these layoffs can cause. When laid-off workers reduce their spending, it doesn't just impact a few businesses, it creates a snowball effect that can ripple throughout the community. Local businesses begin to see declining revenues, and when they struggle to keep their doors open, they might face the tough choice choice of cutting back on staff, leading to even more layoffs. This can spiral into a cycle of economic instability that places an enormous strain on regions that are already heavily dependent on Ford's operations. Economically, communities can start to feel like they're on shaky ground, with uncertainty hanging over them like a dark cloud. And while we're on the topic of economic implications, let's discuss property values. When unemployment rates rise due to significant job losses, many people may be forced to consider relocating in search of new opportunities. This can lead to an increase in housing vacancies and ultimately result in a decline in property values. For the local government, this is a double whammy. Lower property values mean reduced property tax revenues, which can severely impact public services that communities rely on. Think schools, fire departments, and public infrastructure. It's a concerning chain reaction that compounds the initial issue of layoffs and extends it much further than just the workplace. Impact at an individual level. The emotional and mental health impact on the laid-off workers and their families cannot be overstated. Many individuals face profound stress, anxiety, and uncertainty about their futures. And this emotional toll doesn't just vanish the moment they leave the factory floor. It's a heavy burden that can lead to social issues, including increased crime rates, mental health challenges, and a breakdown of community cohesion. The sense of security that a stable job provides is suddenly stripped away, leaving individuals grappling with feelings of despair and helplessness. Now, let's not overlook the knock-on effect on social structures within these communities. Social capital, those bonds of trust and relationships that tie us together, can fray under the pressure of economic uncertainty. Tightly knit neighborhoods may find their sense of community eroding as people move away to seek work elsewhere. The fabric of everyday life may begin to unravel, social gatherings dwindle, and local events might see decreased participation. The vibrancy of a community can dim as residents' focus shifts toward meeting immediate needs rather than fostering communal connections. Amid all these challenges, we have to consider what it means for Ford as a company. These layoffs are not merely a business adjustment, they're a significant departure from the company's traditional role in supporting and engaging with the communities in which it operates. The impact on brand reputation could be substantial. Consumers often evaluate a company not just by the products it puts out, but also by its commitment to the community. If Ford continues down this path without taking steps to mitigate negative effects, it risks alienating loyal customers who may feel abandoned during tough times. Support system. So what can Ford do to address these growing concerns? Proactive measures are essential. Community engagement initiatives that underscore Ford's commitment to local economies can help to bridge the gap, whether that's partnerships with local businesses, job retraining programs, or even community support services. Ford has an opportunity to not only assist those affected by layoffs, but also bolster the local economy. Such actions could help repair any damage to its brand image while actively working to stabilize struggling communities. Additionally, exploring collaborative efforts with local governments and educational institutions can equip laid-off workers with the skills needed for new job opportunities. Creating outreach programs focused on career transition and vocational training could go a long way in helping individuals regain their footing. Investing in the workforce as it faces these challenges can foster a sense of resilience and community spirit, ultimately benefiting Ford as well.